I'm Christopher. I'm shooting a documentary about live event production and public speaking with a focus on the technology side. So
fascinating.
So this is the legendary wall of birch tree brought all the way from Finland. And what else is important here? I don't know. Well, this is cameras, audience. There's nothing really important to see here. Oh, well, there's somebody. This is the guy I want to meet.
Hi, Christopher.
Hi. So what are you sitting here for?
Well, you know, event producers, we just have all the extra time, so we just hang around.
Okay, so if you have some extra time, show me backstage. Show me what you got here.
Yeah, definitely. There's nobody here, so we can sneak in.
It's a secret. Let's not tell anybody.
Yeah. So yeah, we're going into backstage for Nordic Business Forum Sweden 2018. We are in the middle of Stockholm, in a actually very nice place. If you can, I don't know if you can see, but there's a scenery of Stockholm. We are in the Waterfront Congress Center, so which is really on the downtown of Stockholm. So not a bad view for a backstage.
It's pretty decent. Usually you just see gray walls or something like that.
And this is where we tackle that when you have your presentation, is it a PowerPoint, is it or keynote on Mac, and all other content that we have, and of course media server to put that out in the screens.
So tell me briefly about like who's involved here, because you're obviously the head honcho, the big boss of running things here behind the stage, but you're not doing this alone. So give me a breakdown of your team, who's working what and what different people do. So you handle the keynotes and you oversee everything that happens.
Yeah, I'm actually in this. I'm having helping hands with the keynote and also setting up timers for people so they know how much time they have, and also just overwatching that when people are asking questions through our event app, so everything is running. So in this production I actually have possibilities to be hands-on. Some productions might be that I don't touch a single button, so I just work with the team. For example, here's empty seats. We have person who is running the media server, so he puts on all the stuff that comes into this one hub. Is it camera feed or is it something we have on the computers?
It's all on me.
It's all on you?
Yeah.
Okay, so we know if everything goes to shit, we know this is the guy.
Yeah.
This one, I'll point at him. This guy.
In our events, always in Nordic Business Forum, we have a real DJ. Having a DJ Dex, and he plays all the musics live. We believe that real DJ has the manual ability and kind of like he will feel how long and with what volume to play the walking songs and that kind of stuff when speakers walk into the stage. So we have always a professional DJ with his gear.
Cool, and there's a device here next to the DJ.
Yeah, this is intercom system. So we are in the backstage, so of course here's most of the people, but the usual stuff that cannot be on backstage is sound mixing and light mixing, which are on the upper balcony behind the rising seating of people. So we have an intercom system to talk to them.
Okay, then we have some boxes.
And this whole team here is actually for two purposes. It has the camera and sound production for our interview stage, and here is streaming. So for example, this event is streamed to there's probably over a few thousand people watching. So we have dedicated people to see that everything that we put out to the stream works well. This is the camera production. So whatever the cameras are filming, these people look what is the good material, what is the actual shot we're going to use, and that is routed back to us on the media server or the stream.
The camera mixer director, he mixes the camera feeds, but then you can mix in other stuff.
Yeah.
Depending on what you need for that source, because the needs for the room and the needs for the stream usually are a little bit different.
Yeah.
And you can see that in poor quality shows, not like yours, that it's usually the same.
Yeah, that's true.
So then you get trouble with that. We'll get into that more detail in later shows. Okay, so that is one thing, and
Yeah,
then
the same. These guys work in sync, and here is the cameras and stuff for the live stream stage. So the smaller interview stage.
okay, this looks interesting. I think we should interview whoever is here.
We're controlling both the breakout studio and the main session, both of them at the same time. We have remote control cameras out in the little studio, and we have manned cameras in the main room.
How big is this setup from what you usually do?
Usually it's 3-4 camera setups. With 2 rooms it's a little bit different. We have to have a separate audio mixing console for just the streaming part. Otherwise we use the live audio from the main session to include in our recordings or webcast, but this is special since we're using 2 different rooms.
Okay, so walk me through the signal flow. Like, how do you? So you get the 3-man cameras, your 4-man cameras, right?
Yeah, we have 3-man cameras and one so-called beauty shot, the one that we see the whole room, and that one is not manned. It's just one permanent fixed shot. And then we have 3-man cameras in the main session, and then we have 3 remote cameras in the studio. And I control the remote cameras from here. I also control the exposure and for all the cameras here. This is where you control the exposure, so all the 3 cameras look the same. Otherwise one might be lighter, one might be darker, one be more colorful and one less colorful. So to match everything we use the CCU control here.
Okay, and tell me about the audio.
And here is their sound mixing. The why we have these boats here, as you can see the size of the equipment, and when we go and take a quick look of the interview stage is middle of where people network, have their coffee and lunch. So if we can minimize to having tech people, which might be ugly, and tech equipment which might be ugly, in a nice event setting. So if we can have some of the stuff hidden in the back, that's our role.
You heard it from Juha. He called every technician in the world ugly. Just
no, but it's we are paid for the good job we do, not to be presenting stuff on.
That's different people. That's different people.
That's the ugly truth.
I might be the only person who gets paid to do both, but I'm unique, so you know.
Exception to the rule.
So let's go and check out the other stage. Tell me, how did you get involved with doing jobs like this? Because you just don't jump into stuff like that. You have to kind of grow into it, right? So tell me quickly a story.
Short one or a long one?
Well, let's do the medium one.
Okay.
Let's take a seat up here and we can have a chat.
Yeah. Well, it's actually a funny story. I don't know if everybody has, but it wasn't something I planned or had particularly aspiration of. I have used a lot of computers. I'm a little bit nerdy. I have always loved to do presentations in schools and try out fancy things just for my own fun, because you could do stuff. And then I had professional DJing background, like 8 years or something, so at least knew what red and white audio cable looked like, or something like simple
left
like
and
that.
right.
Yeah, left and right. So when I started Nordic Business Forum, like working here, and we were then making the first event in Jyväskylä 2011, so a few weeks before that, and we were just a team of 5 people, and of course we tried to leverage everybody's strengths. So then I joined the team, and it was 3 weeks before the famous Al Gore event, and Hans Peter, our founder and CEO, asked, "Hey, you know a little bit about this stuff?" Yeah, you know a little bit, and you could probably decide what kind of songs we use on. I'm like, okay, and of course I thought it would be just like 1 or 2 computers and a simple like auditorium or classroom style of thing, which is and then I accept the job, and then it was 1,800 people, and our equipment were really bootstrapping. So it was just few computers and me and somebody, our CEO's friend, who's helping hand to do actual production. But the event went well, and that role of taking care of this stick. So that's the story. Hopefully that was the medium length.
That's a pretty good version.
But yeah, so and now of course I have hopefully been smart enough to hire every year more and more people from the production companies we work to be doing the actual work, because they're definitely better than me. They know much, they go deeper, and I just try to, in the broad sense, to think that what we want to the show, what is the drama, arc of drama, what it will sound like, what it would kind of feel like, how it would flow, and then try to express that to the technicians that, hey, we want to do this, and then after this, because then the experience for the viewers might be good. So that's how I see my role. Not to be the best expert in tech anymore. The productions are so cumbersome that it's not. I'm not anymore the best person in that.
There has been talks that by 2021, Nordic Business Forum is going to be the most prominent business seminar
in the world.
How do you think? How big is that going to be? And where is it going to be held?
Well, now we are maxed on Helsinki Fair and Trade Center for 7,500 people simultaneously sitting down. That's, according to them in Helsinki, that's the biggest indoor seating ever built that we had. So we are on the limits of fire department and these kind of things to grow the Helsinki event by volume. So I think the overall mission statement we set up actually 2011, when before we had the Allegory event, we were like, this is what we want to do on 10 years to 2021. Of course, we couldn't dream of being here already now, but I think how that vision will be more concrete or realized for our team is that we will have, because now we have Norway and we have Sweden, and we have actually good partnership with President's Institute on Denmark. So I think it will be this cohesion, this Nordic Business Forum event in all of these Nordic countries. So when you look that in a global perspective, this event will be then like the main player.
So let's get back to business. So we're sitting now at the Business Insider Nordic stage.
Yeah, Business Insider Nordic is currently our Nordic level partner for media. Has been really good partner. We partnered first in our 2017 Helsinki event, and they're broadcasting this material for, I don't know, for their Business Insider global network. So stuff will go in Germany, it might go to the United States, it might go really viral. And we have these interview stages in our events that kind of like go a little bit deeper, or maybe some questions left unanswered in their main keynotes, or just to have people who are networking around this area. You might see they're building up the partner companies, venues, and we want to bring give this kind of like feeling of hub and activity and excitement that here's stuff happening. And one thing on the breaks while getting your coffee is, if you want to hear more about certain speaker, they're probably going to be interviewed even more on this very intimate stage. So it serves few purposes.
Valuable content. I was actually working this stage last year in Helsinki, and I saw how it was done. And it was very nice because you get some really good insights.
Yeah, and we don't know if in future it might grow to be secondary stage. So it's all path of something still unknown. But the form factor might change, but the kind of overall concept of also doing something when people are having break is something we continue to explore.
And Pep Rosenthal, who is now the main moderator of the event, he was the moderator for this stage in Helsinki.
Yeah.
Who's going to moderate this stage now?
Sabine from Kafka is moderating here because we definitely need more women on stage.
Absolutely.
So she's talented, she's beautiful, she's a professional, and we have worked before with her, I would love to say 2 years ago in Helsinki.
I think it's like 3 years ago.
So we knew that she was excellent. She was doing interviews for us. So decided to go with her.
This is my iPad.
Show me what you got. Are these secret notes?
Yeah, these are the secret notes. All the questions.
Ooh,
You have to
okay.
come prepared, you know.
So this is not your first time at the rodeo. I assume you have done this before.
I've done. Yeah, I work as a moderator and communications expert, and one of my, core purposes and passions is to, identify, support, and cultivate the futures of the leaders, the leaders of the future. And if I can do that by, facilitating storytelling and facilitating role models who can convey that, and I'm, contributing in some sense. So leadership, I think, is key.
What do you think about leading from the front?
Definitely leading from the front. And I had a really nice talk with Seth Godin, who's one of the speakers, and I resonate so well with him when he talks about, we have to start looking at the soft qualities, which aren't soft and woozy qualities. Hard qualities are just containers. The soft qualities with being responsible, responsive, empathetic, and leading mindfully and sustainably, that's how we're going to create the future and also the leaders of the future.
So doing events like this is not always just fluffy unicorns. There's also some hardships.
Yeah.
What are the most difficult things about working in events like this?
I don't know if I would say difficulties, and I must say Nordic Business Forum and the team behind Nordic Business Forum is the most effective, structured and polite team I've ever worked with. Everything works smoothly, so I really want to highlight that. So there's not really that much difficulties. I'll convey it more and say challenging. It's always challenging, to do live interviews. I'm usually on the big stage moderating, and that's one thing, but live interviews is it's another dynamic. But it's all fun.
Cool. And just to show the tech that we have here, these are the cameras that we showed behind the...
So, and these are like simplified, you would call them a robocams. So meaning that we were on the backstage, they can operate them, they can change, so you don't have to have the very handsome tech people standing behind of these.
Yeah.
So it takes less space, and there's people not intruding field of vision, for example, if people are watching to the stage. So we just have very simple stuff we need there. We need slides for the huge 100-inch TV for showing who's coming next, and then it's just timer for the moderator and the speakers not going over time. Because that's also live streamed, so we really need to sync this with the main show by the second. So we need to be really meticulous.
So this is the challenge by basically doing two shows at the same time.
Yeah, and live streaming it live for people. That you don't cut stuff on the wrong point, and hopefully no interview here would cut off because we need to go on a certain time to the main show. So that's why we try to keep the track of time really on point. This is now 8th year of doing in our main events, and I think one of our strengths is that we practice a lot. We train the shows a lot. When we are setting up the tech, that's the first part, and then we start to actually go through the walkthroughs. We basically try to do everything we can. We even go through the presentations we have the speakers tomorrow. We click them through and we check if there's anything. So I think that's the key for us. And what is the best tech in any event is that everything you see on screen or here is like one continuous video. People think that it's one continuous video, and the presentations, people walking in, people walking off, what they say, it's like they would be rehearsing a theater play.
Yeah.
and people get the feeling like, oh, these people have been probably practicing this for 2 weeks before the premiere, which is not true. But if you get that kind of feeling,
Yeah.
then the tech disappears, then our work becomes something on the background, and then people can be moved, they can be touched, and you can actually make the change what you want to make. If you want to make them laugh, sad, if you want to teach them, but then that becomes the main point, and not people, the audience, to be focusing on certain things or what they hear, what might be. So I want to be, my work is done perfectly when people don't realize that we have that much tech or presentation equipment.
And that's why I wanted to do this series, to reveal what really goes behind, because I agree with that vision that when we're not visible, that's when we do the best job, when people can just focus on the experience.
The content and why they're here, why their first place came to that particular event.
So when you're doing an event of this size, you probably have a lot of issues, so among all of the successes. So can you say something that, what do you need to be extra careful with, and what are the possible bottlenecks that you have at an event of this size?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think for us that definitely the biggest bottleneck is content management. And what I mean by that in practicality is that we have the latest version for somebody's keynote presentation. We have a latest version for any edits we do for videos. They are in right format, they are in right codec, all that kind of things.
Are you saying that still on this kind of production show you sometimes get the presentations from the speakers very late?
Yeah, definitely, and we try to do TED style. Everybody knows that TED conference, that people wouldn't have their computers on stage. We have some exceptions, and then we have a real arm wrestle on it, and sometimes we allow it because that's the problem. Then we are not in control.
I have tools. Don't take them away from me.
So we cannot pre-test stuff when somebody comes in, and I just plug in my laptop and people think that magically happens. If that would be the truth, we wouldn't have anywhere that kind of meetings where the first 10-15 minutes goes to technical difficulties. That's why we try to get everything beforehand, but then we have shorter nights when we get the middle of the night or just beforehand, like, hey, on a thumb drive, that here's my latest presentation.
Do you like public speakers or speakers in general who bring you or send you the keynote well in advance?
Yes. Yes, definitely, and if then they state that yes, this has custom fonts, here's link to it, and it has video and it has audio.
Oh my God, that's wishful thinking.
That's wishful thinking, but in a perfect world.
In a perfect world. So we're here with Salla Seppä, and you are the customer experience agent, or what is your official title?
Yes, I'm head of customer experience here at Nordic Business Forum.
Okay, how long have you been involved with the company?
I joined 1.5 years ago, after I had first been here as a customer in Nordic Business Forum 15, and I was blown away. I knew to expect quite a lot, but I was like, okay, this is unlike anything else I've experienced in Finland.
So what was the top 3 things that you noticed about the event?
Well, first of all, when I wanted to get a ticket, I didn't have one, it was sold out. But the way the customer service handled the situation when I contacted them was quite amazing. So they put me in touch with somebody who had needed to cancel their ticket. And I was just blown away that they helped even when they didn't have to, because obviously the ticket was already sold. And everything from the moment you entered the place, everything was so well taken care of and thought through. I was like, they really know what they do. And then maybe the third moment when you came into the seminar hall and it all started, and there was a wonderful video from the previous year, and it connected the whole, connected the dots in a way that I just felt like they really had thought through the script as well. Goosebump moments.
I'm getting goosebumps when you're talking about it.
Yes, I am too, every time I mention it, because I was texting my then colleagues saying that this is quite something, that I'm an event professional since many, many years, and still I was very moved and touched. So I was like, this is where I want to work.
And your slides, I'm a slide nerd. So I thought your slides are some of the best ones I've ever seen.
Yeah, you know what? We have a professional design team that they're called Empowered Presentations. They do all of our graphics, and you know, it makes a big difference. People are very visual learners most of the time, and so having a nice slide deck is complementary to the brand.
And it doesn't take away from what you're saying, it complements.
Yeah, you know, a picture says 1,000 words, and so if you read the book Presentation Secrets by Steve Jobs, you'll notice that he uses very few words on the slides, but great graphics and great pictures. That's kind of our style.
You have spoken at thousands of events before, and you've seen a lot of organizations. How would you rate Nordic Business Forum as production-wise, and how they treat you as a speaker?
Yeah, the Nordic Business Forum is awesome, very professional. Again, it's a different audience. It's not an entrepreneur-style audience. It's a corporate-style audience, so they're going to be more professional, a little bit more conservative. The staff has been amazing. The production crew, everything is dialed in. I mean, people wearing matching bow ties and everything. It's just awesome. So as a speaker, it counts, because some events that we go to, you know, don't have a lot of organization. We don't know where we're supposed to be or when, and these guys have everything totally dialed in, very blueprint.
So you've done a bunch of events, obviously.
Oh yeah.
So how would you rate or review this production from the viewpoint of a speaker?
Oh man, this is a well-oiled machine. I mean, I'm an event organizer myself, and I speak at a lot of events. Let me just say, I have experienced a wide variety of levels of competence of event organizers. These guys do an A+ production, and I'm actually very impressed how quickly they've been able to build this series of events. From my impression of it, I thought this was, you know, some ancient 100-year-old, you know, Nordic institution, and then you find out that they just started it like 5 minutes ago practically. It's really very, very impressive. Very, very well done.
Final comment, how would you rate this event from a speaker's perspective? Like how well do you get taken care of and so on?
I'm not really interested in how well I'm taken care of. I'm pretty self-sufficient. I got wheels on my suitcase, I just roll it around. I really care about whether in those couple hours I have the levers and the tools that I want, right? So I don't want to speak at a convention center. I don't want to speak in between dancing clowns and juggling monkeys. I don't want, there's all this stuff that people who organize events think they're supposed to do. I'm looking for intimacy, vulnerability, energy, and possibility. And these guys are off the charts.
You have arranged a few events in your career, right?
A few. I might say so. 30 years of events. It amounts to a few.
What would you say that defines a good event? What are the, let's say, top 3 things that needs to be in place for an event to be successful?
Number 1 is audience and the energy in the audience, of course. Number 2 is the facilities or the venue. It must uplift people, it must give people energy and inspiration. And of course, number 3 is world-class speakers and presenters, people who can actually move us, make us think and get kind of in touch with our passions.
And how do you think that Nordic Business Forum has handled all of these 3?
Well, what do you think? It's a miracle. I never thought they would actually rise to this level. It's I've been close to the guys as a presenter, as a client, but also as a trainer. I've helped the guys in their early formative years, and I would never have imagined what they have accomplished now. This is so fantastic, and I have this sensation that this is just a beginning of a great, magnificent story. So my deepest respect. It's not only the 2 guys, Juri Linden and Hans-Peter Siefen. It's all the volunteers. It's the personnel. It's all the people who take risks and work their asses off to make us feel special as guests of these events.
How did it go? Expectations, and how did it end up?
Really legendary. This last session with Voss was much more legendary than I even thought. one of those once-in-a-lifetime moments.
Absolutely. Very good. How about you, Pep?
What a fantastic day from the start. The VIP session with Eric Rees, which was fantastic, to this phenomenal mind blower of an hour with Seth Godin doing a Q&A with Woz. I mean,
it's like Jesus interviewing Buddha.
It's like Jesus interviewing Buddha if you're a religious geek, but I'm a nerd geek. So this it doesn't get better than this.
And so our show ends where it began with the Bird's Wall. This is where we started. Where are these going now, you know?
I don't know.
They're going to Habes Sauna in Jyväskylä.
I really like it, yes.